Good evening, everyone. It is 6 o'clock. If you would please start to take your seats, we will begin shortly.
They put the monitoring under zoning, and I don't know anything about the monitoring. That's after the zoning current approval.
That's what I'm saying. I just didn't know. You want to just turn it over to
zoning-
me and
You can turn it over to Tui at that point.
but it is, it is what it is. I mean, there's not
I've
much.
land use, then zoning. I mean, I could go down there with you, so you
I'll
and
go
I
with
are
you.
just.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
Oh,
You look like an aviator.
There's no way public
I'm
comment
just,
is gonna be done by
thinking if anybody here decides to start shooting us,
Oh,
I'm
God,
in the middle.
Ollie.
I'm in the middle. I
Take it
can't
for
get
us?
everywhere. Yeah,
You
it's
gonna
just like
take it for us? You're gonna be like,
Well, 7:30,
Either way,
I
it's
think they
gonna
were
be me.
gonna turn it over to people visiting the different stations.
oh, okay. So
But
it's
I think-
public comment here on the microphone. So
we need to put everything.
Well, it says public comment at 7.
We ask Arden to
Approximately 7:30 to 8, residents may visit department tables for just
Everyone, we are going to start with an invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are able, please stand.
just present. Yeah.
If you'll bow your heads with me. Father God, thank you for this time that we can come together as a community and get questions to answers that the residents have, and we get a little bit more about the vision of Palm Beach County for the Western communities. We pray for civility, and we can have good, constructive conversation, and please be with everyone as they travel home, and thank you for the group, the community that arrived to come together and share their voice. In your great name, amen. Now we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. So first, I want to start with thanking everyone for taking time out of their busy days to come here. I would like to start with addressing a few issues that have been outstanding and a lot of bad information out there. But I think first and foremost, I want everyone to absolutely understand that I am not in support of Project Tango. Absolutely not. I have never once said I support this project. I have never once supported the project. There's a lot of bad information out there and a lot of people trying to strum up a lot of hate towards me. So let's make that very, very clear. I am in no way in favor of this. If I do want everyone in here to have the most accurate information available and to make up their own decision. It is absolutely, without a doubt, my number one priority to represent what people and the residents of my district want. It is not my job to represent applicants or anybody else coming before the commission, and I take that job very seriously. So I'd like to start there. The applicant is here to explain what they would like, what is currently here, and what they would like to do. I will also address some of the false allegations of who potentially could be involved with this project. There has never been, and I even have other people involved in this project tell you, commissioners have not signed a non-disclosure agreement. That is absolutely false. The applicant and the project owner, they have non-disclosure agreements, so even I don't know who's been involved. I have specifically asked, because of all the allegations, if Larry Ellison, Oracle, or Stephen Ross with Related has anything to do with the project. Now, they can't tell me who is, but they can say without a shadow of a doubt that those two entities have absolutely nothing to do with this project, and you'll hear it from their mouths. As far as contributions go, I want you to know one has nothing to do with the other. I have voted no on many projects that people have donated to me for. So the idea that because somebody has donated to me or my campaign does not mean I'm voting for them. I'm saying it here loud and publicly. I am not in support of this project. I am in support of you having all the information, of being able to decide for yourselves what you would like to see there. There was a previous approval in 2016 that allows the current applicant, without ever coming back before the Board of County Commissioners, to build a data center of up to 2,020,000 square foot. If it never came back to us, as of today, that is what they are allowed. And that was done under the former commissioner in 2016. Never brought before me. I never approved of it, never signed off on it. And I want to make that very clear before this gets started. That is not, I would not be okay with this. And somebody has said, why don't you get your fellow commissioners to support you? We are bound by sunshine laws. We are not allowed to talk to fellow commissioners about upcoming votes outside of a public meeting. So yes, absolutely, during the public meeting, I will try to implore my fellow commissioners to not support this project. That is the only place I am legally allowed to get the support of my fellow commissioners, just so that everyone has that information and that they know. There was another allegation that I held this meeting on purpose on a Wednesday night to interfere with another meeting. Absolutely not true. This was a Wednesday night. It was the most convenient for the most amount of people. And to be clear, this originally was strictly for Arden residents because this is who is impacted the most. So that is why we moved it to a larger room to accommodate, and we wanted to hear from those people. We are going to go through a series of presentations this evening so that you have the most information, and then from between 7 and 8 is time that we have dedicated to public comment. If you would like to speak this evening and you have not already, I ask that you please fill out a comment card as you walk in so that you can be called to speak. And with that, I want to thank you again for being here. Yes, if you could please silence your cell phones, that would be extremely helpful. And I'm going to turn it over to Pat Rutter, one of our deputy county administrators.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you, Mayor. Just to reemphasize the mayor's point, if you want to speak, I've got about 25 cards right now. Please go ahead. We're back in the lobby there in the entryway. Get a comment card filled out. I will be calling names later, and we'll go through that in a little bit. Right now, as we're setting up, we've got a number of presentations, as the mayor indicated. The first one we're going to hear from will be the applicant, and as they're making their way here, we'll turn it over to them. We'll have our staff then come down. We'll introduce a number of different departments as well as Florida Power and Light and be talking that through. Then we'll move on to public comment. So with that, Ernie, clicker.
How about now? Okay. For those that I have not met yet, my name is Ernie Cox, and I've been the project manager for the Central Park Commerce Center project for over the last 10 years. And so what we want to do tonight, we put together a short video to try to show the site and some changes that we have made since the public hearing that was postponed in December, and then a few quick slides, kind of overview of changes that we have made. As some of you know also, I was the person who actually worked through, for the property owner, the original approvals of what is now Arden. And Arden is a beautiful community, and we had always, as you look at the Palm Beach aggregates and PBA holding site and Central Park Commerce Center, had worked towards how do you integrate a power plant, an aggregate mine, a concrete plant, an asphalt plant, major water resources, infrastructure, warehouse, commerce park, and data center in a way that all fits in a coordinated fashion. And so one of the other things I'll also mention as we go through this and answer questions is we do have many of our engineering team here, and so hopefully there'll be time tonight. If you have a question about water over here in the back, and if you have questions about the site plan over here in the front, if you have questions about power over here in the back. And again, we'll do our best to answer questions and explain what we're doing and what we've changed. So I don't know does somebody have the video able to play back in the back? Okay, thank you. Which button do I push? Not that one. Patrick, which one do I push?
I think you want this one. Yeah, try that.
That one?
No, the other way.
Other way. Where do I point?
There we go. Give it a second.
Okay. Well, here, folks, this is a rendering of what we're contemplating for. All right. All you have to do is tell me. Sorry. So this is a rendering of one of the proposed data center buildings, and architecturally, the intent is for it to look and feel like it would be in a Class A business park. This is context where the property is. You could see in the upper left-hand corner the current aggregate mine, the construction of the C51 reservoir, the L8 reservoir, and then the Florida Power and Light West Energy Center, the acreage, and then Arden. This is a little bit, and this is actually better to see on one of the boards somewhere around the room, kind of the history, the kind of what's happened over time. And the actual aggregate mine started in the late 1990s, and you could see how over time more activity has taken place up until the present. This is the current concept plan. One of the things that we have done is we have reduced the square footage of our proposed data center. And so as proposed, it was going to be 1.9 million square feet of data center. Okay. I don't know what happened here. Okay. Hopefully it won't move. We've reduced it to 1 million square feet. And the other thing that we have done is we have pushed the data center buildings farther west, close to the power plant. And we have on the 2 data center buildings right next to the power plant, those are 2-story with some cooling equipment on the roof, shielded and buffered. And then the 3 smaller buildings, we've actually put the cooling equipment that was previously proposed to be outside, inside its own building to reduce the sound impact. This is, again, kind of a picture of what we believe it will look like from a building design perspective. And then the buffer, I asked the landscape folks to put together an idea of what that buffer would look like. As you know, if you've been on the trail around Arden, when that material was placed, that dirt that's in Arden used to be at the bottom of the L8 flow equalization basin. It's sand from hundreds of thousands of years ago. There's that extra berm that now has the trail around Arden. That was part of the original planning, knowing that the power plant and the Commerce Center would be to the west. No. I did have one more picture I wanted to show. I don't know how he lost it. Yeah, no, I'm looking at the crowd. Patrick, how do we? Up, there we go. So this is a visual trying to look at it from the Arden side of the power plant in the back, the buildings, the two buildings in front of the power plant will do some buffering of that, and this is before we add the landscape buffer. There is, I know, a lot of questions about water usage. What's that?
Hang on, folks, hang on a second. Let's get through these presentations. There'll be the time for public comment later. Let's work through them.
If they can work with me, I will.
Okay. Guys, we all know there's a school there. So everybody knows on the other side, so if you look at the 3 data center buildings in white, there's then about 2,000 feet to the east of that, and there's a school to the east side of it. Okay. So the other question that's been asked is how is the data center going to be cooled? And there are data centers around the country that use a lot of water. We're using a closed loop system, kind of like your air conditioning system in your house. And in the back is a schematic, so you could talk to the engineers that are designing. Guys, I'm just going to explain what we're doing. You're free to disagree with us. We're just trying to answer the question. The data center will not use much water. And then stormwater management, is there about 5,000 gallons per day. Okay. What? I do not understand this. Okay. I don't understand why this is not working. Guys. Okay. Guys. How do I? This is not.
Ernie, is your mic
Patrick, I
is
don't
your
know how to
mic
get
on?
back.
Go back.
Yeah. Again, I'll just close it out.
Yeah, go for it. Close it out. Got it.
So I also, folks, tonight and continuing, if you have questions, let us know. We're also putting together a website. It'll be live. It's centralparkcommercecenter.com. It'll have all the information presented. It'll have the details. To give you a sense of schedule, we have been gathering information since December. As a number of you and I have had the conversation, the details on the buildings would always have been addressed at the building permit stage of the project. We've now advanced that, and so we're doing the things that would have been done at building permit now. They're not completed. We're working through sound studies and vibration studies. Those will be resubmitted to the county within the next few weeks. There'll be public documents. We're also going to put them on the website, so you have an opportunity to go look at them. It's centralparkcommercecenter.com. These will be studies done by professional engineers, and they will be made available for county. Hold on. Okay, guys. Folks, as is the requirement under Palm Beach County rules and regulations, we are hiring the experts to do the reports. They will be submitted, they will be reviewed, and they will have an opportunity for you to review them as well and comment on them. So that's the process that we're going through. I did want to also reconfirm, Mayor Baxter had made the comment about two folks that there's been some rumors out there were involved in it. So Larry Ellison at Oracle and Stephen Ross and related, we have had no conversations with either of those individuals or their companies. They're not involved in the project. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on. So we've got a number of county departments that are going to be presenting information relevant to their role in this, their piece of it. And first, we're going to start with Engineering and Public Works, the Deputy Director, Joanne Keller.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joanne Keller. I'm with the Engineering and Public Works Department. I'm the Deputy County Engineer, and I'm taking a step back. I'm going to update you on some of the infrastructure projects in this, not just this specific area, but the general area out here out west. Some of you may have heard this before, but I wanted to give some updates on the projects. Let's see. On the screen, I'm sure many of you have seen this. This is what we call our thoroughfare right-of-way identification map, and it's how we help plan our road network needs. It was created in 1985, and some of the roads out there that were shown then are still in need of construction. Zoomed in to the acreage area, there's some colors on the maps. I know it's hard to read probably, but those are some of the projects we're actively working on today. And I'll go through a couple of them briefly. Seminole Pratt Whitney Road from Orange Boulevard to North Lake Boulevard under construction today. I'm sure many of you have seen it. The initial contract amount for that was $18 million. It's under construction, and we're doing on track for completion in September 26. We had some utility delays at the beginning, and those have been overcome, so we're back on track. Going to North Lake Boulevard, east of Seminole Pratt, to Hall Boulevard, we'll be widening from 4 to 6 lanes there. The initial contract amount for that one was $12 million. We had some utility work to do ahead of time, and that's actively happening now, and we're estimating completion for that project is fall 2027. It's just turned off? Oh. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Is the other one still on? Oh. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. It's back on.
Got it?
Yeah. So. No, it's gone again? Should I do this?
Just go ahead and talk it through.
Oh, I don't have the clicker.
I got the clicker on the stage. I got it.
Oh, I see it. Thank you. Okay.
What is it?
And we just changed on here too. Okay. I'll just continue with the projects. Thank you for that idea. So North Lake Boulevard, we have a new project in North Lake from generally the Ibis area east to Beeline Highway. Currently, oh, I'm sorry, I can't tell that, it's not working. So North Lake Boulevard, we have a new project from Ibis to State Road 7. It's currently 4 lanes. We are going to 6 lane that segment We believe that that project's going to alleviate some of the merging issues. We hope to have that project advertised for design in September 26, and that one would take about 2 years to complete. We have an update on the Coconut Boulevard extension from North Lake north to Beeline. The Avenir developer is constructing that, and they have told us that will be completed by the end of 2026. This is an overall for all of the projects out there. So Seminole Pratt Whitney Road has a new alignment in the works. We have it on the thoroughfare plan since 1980. It is currently funded for an alignment study, and that study will begin in 2026. Once that alignment is adopted, we'll add that project to the 5-year road program for funding and design. And I said I was taking a step back. I'm going to go over the projects.
Folks. Hey, hang on. We've got a number of departments sharing a lot of information that's going out there. Hear you on Project Tango. Hang on. We're hitting a lot of these points. Let us work through this, and we're going to get to questions as well. So hold tight.
Closer to out west, we have Seminole Pratt Whitney Road at Southern Boulevard.
Folks, we're all here tonight. We're all here. We're going to be touching on all these points. We're sharing a variety of information. You're going to have a chance to speak. This is taking time away from opportunities for you to ask questions and engage. So let's hang in there. Let's go. If you let us work on this, we're going to get our presentation through, and we'll move on. All right?
It just going to take 2 hours to get.
There's no video, so right? No video. One more project to update you on, Seminole Pratt Whitney Road at Southern Boulevard. There is a project to add a 3rd left turn lane on Seminole Pratt to go eastbound on Southern. That construction should begin in 26. And then, if I had the slide, I would show you how to contact us, but we'll have to get that to you later.
Okay. Moving on. Planning, Zoning, and Building Department. You want to hear about Project Tango and the history? We're going to bring this to you right now. We have our Executive Director, Whitney Carroll, our Zoning Director, Wendy Hernandez, and the Planning Director, Twee Schutt. They're going to run through a lot of the history on it, where it is in the process, and I'm going to hand it over to Whitney right now.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Like Patrick said, I'm Whitney Carroll, the Executive Director of Planning, Zoning, and Building Department, and I have, and so the Planning, Zoning, and Building Department is the department that oversees the development review process for projects that are being developed within unincorporated Palm Beach County. So our department will be reviewing and is in the process of reviewing the proposal that that we currently have before us that was brought to the board. That item was postponed. So what we wanted to do was just give you a history on this project that is that give you an overview of what they could do today if they were to go and build. So you have some sort of context of what could possibly go on out there, and also the little bit of history of the Arden community as well, so that you can understand how that was developed.
Everyone, please be respectful. This is county staff. They're trying to give you information, and every time you interrupt, it prolongs this. You're going to cut into public comment time for everyone. So I ask that you please be respectful of staff that is also here working late to give you up-to-date information. I am aware, and they are aware, you do not want this project, but I think it is important that you understand what is currently approved and has been approved since 2016. So please... please, if you don't want to hear, guys, Whitney, do you have other information other than the square footage that was approved?
We have the square footage of what was approved.
Guys, if you are not interested in hearing about how much data warehouse space is available, please raise your hand. If you are interested in hearing currently what is approved, please raise your hand. So the people here want to hear, the majority of people here who raise their hand want to hear this information. So I ask that everyone please be respectful and let them get the information they came here to hear, please. Thank you. Please proceed, Whitney.
Thank you. So I'm going to turn this over to Twee Shutt. She's the planning director. The planning land use, it gives you an overview of generally what is permissible on this property, and she's going to go over the history for you.
Good evening. I'm sorry. Again, Twee Shutt, and I will be very brief so that you can kind of understand what our lingo is. You can hear a lot of little things that sounds like Morse code. Please bear with me. These are terms we use. These are terms that we use for approvals. So the difference between planning and zoning, we do more of the long-term, long-range plan, and I will take a little bit of the time to go over the history of how this project got to be where it is and how it relates to Arden. Okay, so back in 2004, I'll take just 5 minutes to look at that. 2004, the county created something called the Limited Urban Service Area, and the county allowed the development of the future Arden site. It used to be 1 unit per 10 acre, so it was approved at 1 unit, which is 2 units per acre, which is called LR2, Low Residential 2, for 1,200 acre, which is now the Arden site, right? So this also, there were certain things put in place to prevent over development and higher density increases should it be annexed into the village of Wellington. So the county also provided another protection called the Glades Area Overlay or Glades Area Protection Overlay, GAPO. So that's one terminology that I hope you hear and you'll know what that is. So back then, in 2006, the Arden development came to be under a plan unit development. And again, it was never developed, and that project or that approval was abandoned in 2008. Again, fast forward 2013, the plan unit development, Arden came into being, and that was approved once again for 1,200 acre. Construction commenced, and then the first unit was sold in 2017-18. So this leads us to 2016. The Board of County Commissioners then allowed something that we call Economic Development Center, which is a future land use designation to exist within the GAPO in this overlay, west of the L8 canal. The changes to the future land use to the EDC created what we call limited urban service area, LUSA. And that was to apply to 138 acres west of the L8 canal. And this is for an employment center to include a large scale, at that time, data center. We don't know what that was or how that's going to be like it is now, but at that terminology, and at that time, the terminology data center was used. There were conditions of approval that were included in that approval process. And again, there were also time put into place, conditions of timing and deadline when they can commence development. So all the approvals that the county has, there's always a limited amount of time in which it can be developed. So the limits on the square footage was 491,749 square feet of light industrial uses and 2,786,577 square feet of warehouse uses or equivalent trips. If those conditions were not put in there, they could have gone, greater than that. But that was the safeguard at that time. So again, 2018, there was an extended commencement deadline from 2019 to June 30th, 2022 to allow for, some tax exemption for the qualifying data centers. So that was as a result of the 2017 legislation, the state legislation that was passed. So fast forward approximately a year ago, there was a change to the FLUA, which is a future land use designation for a certain portion to the EDC, and that expanded the limited urban service area to incorporate the adjacent 64 plus or minus acre site. So the extended prior condition approval limiting the square footage uses to the entire 202 plus or minus acre site. This also involves some deletion of condition of approval regarding commencement deadline, because that was deemed to be satisfied in 2022. So again, that leads us back to, these conditions of approval are in place, and there are steps in which we as staff have to review to make sure that it's in line with all the requirements as well as previous approval. With that, I'll turn this over to zoning, and I'll be here at that table if there's any questions that you need. Thank you. Understood.
Hold on, guys, let Wendy, are you answering? So the difference between a warehouse and data center, if you'd please explain.
A warehouse is long-term storage, and the data center that we have is for the housing of the computer equipment.
How much of the square footage was approved? How much of the square footage of warehouse space is currently approved? Well, the two different, that was my next question. The distinguish between warehouse and then how much is approved for data center? Right. Hold on, let her.
Okay. So right now, the site, okay, my name is Wendy Hernandez, so if I didn't say that before, the current approval right now includes 202.67 acres, and the square footage that's approved for the entire site is 2,020,000 square feet. We have a current approval for 206,000 of the data center use and 1,814,000 of warehouse. So that's what's currently approved right now, not including what they have proposed. So that's what's on.
Changing warehouse into data processing or hyperscale, correct? That's the way the code reflects at the moment?
The code allows for uses to change administratively.
Again.
Yep. So the land.
When Wendy says administratively, that means does not come back to the board, meaning we don't get a vote on it. It just goes through an application process through the county, and they have private property rights to be allowed to do that. We cannot change what is currently approved. I am not in favor of what is potentially this all even being a data center at all, but I am not in favor of it. I just want you to know what is currently approved. So, next, is there a distinguish on this project between light and heavy industrial?
Yes,
And it is approved for,
it's zoned for light industrial,
okay.
and this use was allowed
And this
starting
is-
back in 2016.
Guys, again, I'm not in favor of this. I'm just trying to get you the information of the question. Hold on, let's specify that. And Mr. Brown, I'm going to ask that you please stop screaming. We will get to questions. But when this came to the commission, they were asking for more, not what is currently approved. When this came to the commission in December, I believe, it wasn't for what is currently approved. It was to increase the amount of square footage. That's why it had to come to us. They are currently approved for what was just said without ever coming back to us. They are allowed to administratively change the uses. And so this is why we are here tonight, for the information, so you are updated on what is allowed. At that meeting, they were asking for an increase. They weren't asking for this to be approved. That is why I wanted everyone to get the correct information tonight and to be fully informed. So please, Wendy, did you have anything else to add?
I just,
So it's light industrial, to be clear, is what it's zoned
These uses are allowed under light industrial.
The data information processing use, the data information and processing use,
Please let her answer.
the data information and processing use is allowed at this location. It complies. They have a limitation, they have a,
Please stop.
I will try to answer, but everybody's talking over. So they have a current approval for two, I understand, but I'm trying to answer your questions that you're screaming out.
Please
They have a
stop.
current approval for 2,020,000 square feet. I can't hear when you're yelling out at me, but I think,
Let her answer, please.
so they have an approval for 2,020,000 square feet. The applicant is requesting to add more square footage and more to this site. That's the application that's being proposed. So that's what's before the board right now, is to increase and add more square footage to the site. Okay,
Okay, so
thank you.
what is next up?
So I do want to point out that the applicant did present like a different layout in the site plan, and we haven't, zoning hasn't seen that proposal yet. So any modifications are going to have to come back to zoning for review. So at this point in time, they are postponed to April. Their proposal is 1.2 million square feet of warehouse and 2 million, they have a phase 2 that's 357,000 square feet of data center, and then another 1.15 million of data center, and then just under 1 million for a future phase. But I believe he presented 3.7 million in total. Right. That's the proposal. That's the proposal that is postponed to go to the April hearing. But again, I just want to remind you, it's, so.
All right, good. We're going to move on to our next person. Deborah Drum, Environmental Resource Management Director, gave you a couple slides, just a little bit of information on her role in the process.
Great job. Keep going to the right.
Good evening. My name is Deb Drum. I'm the Director of Environmental Resources Management. Thank you for being here tonight and being engaged in your community. We have a very narrow set of conditions under the ULDC that we oversee in my department, and they're listed here, the first two bullets on this slide. ERM will perform inspections to confirm that any stormwater lake excavations and littoral area plantings are properly constructed. All of that responsibility falls in my department under the ULDC Article 4 under excavation uses. You can Google that and find that online if you're interested in seeing those details. Alternatively, we are looking forward to engaging with you tonight. If we have a table, the ERM table, if my team will stand up and kind of wave to the crowd. These gentlemen and myself will be around tonight to answer any specific questions that you have, and we look forward to engaging with you. We will also be performing inspections during construction that confirm that any erosion and sediment control best management practices, including silt fences, dust control, surface water runoff management, et cetera, comply with what is called, it's a mouthful, it's called the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit. And essentially what that boils down to, that permit sets limits on what pollutants can be discharged into rivers, lakes, and coastal waters, and it requires monitoring and reporting to keep our waters clean and safe. My department will be responsible for doing those inspections during construction. I wanted to raise to this community that we did receive a letter from the Friends of the Arthur R. Marshall Loxahatchee National Wildlife Refuge with two concerns related to noise impacts to the National Wildlife Refuge. I did want to report tonight that we did raise this issue with the applicant, and they have indicated, I think in one of the handouts or perhaps one of the slides that was presented earlier, that They have conducted modeling for what the anticipated decibels of operations, and they're not anticipating any impact. However, that report, I'm reporting the facts. I'm reporting the facts to you as I know them. The report has not yet been provided by the applicant to the county, and my department will review those findings.
Everyone,
once
I
it's
want to
submitted.
remind you, regardless of what she says, she is not here to sell you on liking or disliking the project. I am a no vote. I do not support the project. She is trying to just get you the information as it is. So please be respectful. Just so you know, again, this project is tonight is for information only. It isn't to sell you one way or the other. If you don't want the information, we can skip it and we can move to public comment if you would like. Again, everyone, I am a no vote on this. This isn't a matter of convincing you one way or the other. It is not. Please let them finish for the people who want the information. Deb, I just ask that you streamline it. And then there is the last.
The water issues will be addressed by the Utilities Department, who you'll hear from. My last slide is our contact information. I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you have if you want to reach out. And again, we'll be at the table. No. Okay.
All right, very good. Thank you. Next up, Chief David Woodside from Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. He's going to be here.
So with knowing that the majority of the residents here tonight, I have been working on a project with Fire Rescue, and I want Chief Woodside here to update everyone on what we have been trying to work on for Arden residents.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you for your time and attention. I'm going to take it from two perspectives, because everyone wants to hear about Project Tango first, and then from the second part that we've been working on from a greater perspective is public safety. Can we do that? Thank you. Project Tango presentation is going to be short. Fire Rescue continues to keep up with NFPA, National Fire Protection Association, codes and standards for data centers, the updated codes, and we're involved in that conversation on a national level so that we stay abreast of all fire mitigation standards that we need to apply to whatever happens. We don't have a clear picture of what's going in there, what's going to happen, so we can't make decisions yet from a fire rescue perspective for life safety related to that. However, we are engaged, we are listening, and we will be on the forefront of anything that happens on a national level. That's it with Project Tango. Now, from a greater perspective on life safety, we've been working with the mayor and administration. I'm gonna tell you, we've been working with the mayor and administration, and we've been on a number of these community meetings. And I'm gonna say this to the mayor in front of you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your support for public safety, and specifically for Arden. She has been a proponent of public safety with us for Arden from the beginning, and we continue to do that. Do you want to make the announcement?
So I've been hearing for a while, and I wasn't quite sure. So thank you for working with me to Fire Rescue and finding a solution, because you guys were years away from getting any sort of fire station, right? So tonight I wanted to be the first to tell you you are getting a temporary fire station so that your response times will be very quick. And we have a map to show you, if we can get the presentation back up and running, of exactly where it will be located and it will reduce your response times. But even more importantly, a lot of things I heard, and I want to make things more affordable for you. What is going to do, you can send it to your insurance companies and let them know that you now will have a fire station much closer to you so you can get a reduction in your insurance. So if we could please find that and get the presentation working. There it is, temporary fire location. So,
Okay.
thank you, Chief. Chief Woodside, if you would go over some,
Let me go through.
if you would go over some
If you would,
timelines,
Give me
please.
attention a little bit more so I can explain it. And it starts with what makes it temporary as opposed to normal. From a normal process to get a fire station from start to finish right now is 5 years. Okay? Working with the mayor, she said, Chief, we're looking at some metrics, and I've had some of you in my offices, and we talked through those metrics. And she said, can we do something sooner? And the answer is yes, we put a temporary station in there. What makes it temporary? That means that's not the permanent location, or it may be the permanent location. You and I were talking about the Wellington site, which is a much more ideal site for a fire station. So we're working through that, but in the meantime, we're providing services to that area. We're reducing the response times by, or getting them in line with the county response time of 7.5 minutes, if you will. And that's what we want. If you look, the closest station, I think, bottom right of that slide, is Station 20 is coming from Wellington. It's 5.5 miles away. And that's what we want to make better for you guys. That's what we've been working on together to try and find a solution that's short-term rather than waiting 5 years, 5.5 years to get a temporary.
Chief, how long until the temporary site?
Okay. I'm going to talk about her. She is a pusher. She said, I want it as soon as possible. We're working with our partners. We've engaged them that we're going to speed up some processes to get this done, and we're looking from 12 to 18 months to get it up and running and staffed. Now, here's the kicker. This slide, unlike other temporary stations, we're going to have a full ALS transport vehicle and a full ALS engine in the temporary station when it's up and running. Generally unheard of. Again, leadership from the mayor, leadership from an administration that we want to push this forward for the residents, for public safety. We've been talking about it, and I said, come visit me, we're going to get it. And, you know, thank you, leadership, commitment, we have it, and we're moving it forward. The mayor was mentioning ISO, and some of you have this with your insurance. Where now this temporary, we're going to set it up where it does meet the ISO requirements. So that community will be an IS1, and the potential for that is lower insurance rate. Then you missed the front part of that conversation when we talked about Taberna. I'm sorry. With me tonight, you have Deputy Chief of Operations, Chief Gonzalez. You have Fire Marshal, Division Chief Dave DeRita, Engagement Division Chief Charles Coyle, Amanda Vermero, District Chief of the area. We'll be over there afterwards to answer any and all questions you have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief.
Our next speaker is Ali Bayet, our Water Utilities Director.
Well, since you only like the chief, he's my cousin. That's how we're going to start. So I'm Ali Bayat. I'm the Palm Beach County Water Utilities. I've been the director for 6 years. I've been with the county for 15 years. And I'm going to keep it short and sweet to the point that you want to hear. On a daily basis, we produce 60 million gallons of water. We send it through the community. Let's say what that means. We have customers, they only take 100 gallons per day or even less. But we also have customers that they take 1 million gallons per day as of now. And we manage all of it to make sure, not just for today, but also the decades to come, for you and your kids and the future of Arden and all the communities, you have the water. So that big picture. We get it from the same source we're getting it now. We have. Let me just go through it. So just for you all to have some comparison, for example, Arden itself, every day we provide you 500,000 gallons of water on a daily basis. That's just the Arden. Okay. So, what's that? They all on the well water, right. But for you guys, again, for the applicant, what they put in front of us, as of now, is 5,000 gallons per day. That's all it is. On the wastewater side, also we are responsible for making sure the wastewater coming from any user, it complies with the county code. And the county code actually is a long list of whole different chemicals that they have to get approved for, right? What applicant also provided to us, again, they're gonna haul away their wastewater. I'm not telling you guys one thing one way or another, I'm just passing you the information that you need to have. So that's all it is for us. Sure.
Everyone, we are going to have a public comment section. So we're going to have to start, guys, listen. Even if we like what's being said, it is being disrespectful to everyone's time that is in here. If people are being disruptive, we're going to have to start asking people to leave and having them removed. Guys, I have avoided that all night. I do not want that. I absolutely want you to stay here. But we can't keep having all of these disruptions. I do want to get to public comment. I want to hear what every single person in this room says. But we need to get through this, please.
So to that point, thank you, Mayor. Our last speaker before we get to public comment is Don Kizalewski from Florida Power and Light.
Good evening. I'm going to be very quick with my time. I do appreciate you all being here today, and we understand. I hear your frustration up here. My name is Don Kieselewski. I am the Executive Director of External Affairs for Florida Power and Light Company. The individuals that you heard before me are county employees. We at FPL, we are regulated by the state of Florida underneath the Florida Public Service Commission. And underneath that regulation of the PSC, we do have an obligation to serve all customers in FPL service territory, even data centers. Last year, however, FPL put in place a large load rate structure to ensure that existing customers never subsidize the power needs of a data center. We closely studied the experience of other states and utilities had with data center development. We recognize that growth is coming to Florida. We need to design a new tariff to avoid some of the challenges other states have faced. We believe that this is the most forward-looking and customer-protective tariff in the nation. It enables us to meet our obligation to serve while ensuring data centers pay their own way so we can keep bills low for Florida families and businesses.
Don, can you summarize that, please?
Basically, it's not total nonsense. We are regulated by the state. We have a tariff that they will pay their own way and not impact our bills. Thank you for your time. We're here to answer your questions.
Thank you, Don.
We appreciate you.
Okay.
We are going to move on to public comment cards.
Okay, so here's how we're going to handle public comment. I have your cards up here. We're going to call out, hang with me. We're going to call out 5 names at a time. I'm going to ask you to line up right here. One of the staff members is going to be available. We're going to have 1 minute for comment. We've got about 70, 80 cards, so we're going to hold you to 1 minute. You're going to have a staff member in front of you try and show you the timer so you know when you're getting close to that 1 minute mark. And we're going to ask you to be respectful of the next person and wrap your comments up at that point. So with that, let me first announce I've got a couple cards that asked not to speak, but I want to make sure I acknowledge them. Jenny Evangelista and Andrea, Starkus. I believe it is. So I've got the 2 cards here. All these cards are being kept for the record. The mayor's office is going to have them. We're noting. With that, ask our first 5 people to move forward. Andrew Vega, Deanne Davis, Mark Buenalamante, Adriana Rivera, and Monique Costner. If you heard your name, please move up to the mic. Again, Andrew Vega, Deanne Davis, Mark Buenalamante, Adriana Rivera, Monique Costner. And now some of them might be out in the hallway area, so we'll keep note of that. And I'd ask you to just state your name when you start so I can make sure I note that you've had your chance to speak. Thank you.
He said name and location. Yes, my name is Mark Bonamazzi, live on Broad Shore Walk in Arden. And I did want to refer to a professional engineering report that I had read from LM Engineering Inspections and Consulting. I'm also a civil engineer involved with land development. And in summary, they talked about the proposed AI data center. Hyperscale data center, Project Tango, represents a scale of development with impacts that extend well beyond typical light industrial use, which is why it should be reconsidered for the zoning for the area. And this project will affect regional energy demand, grid stability, air quality, traffic operations, water resources, noise, light pollution, and ecological integrity. And more important, the kids within the Arden development with the school located right there. And we hope that you please review the LM Engineering report, which presents the actual facts, not just a presented opinion of what could be, but actual facts and research that have done to protect the community. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm going to hold the cards for those that I called earlier that didn't come up. So let's call the next. We're gonna call the next 5 names. Nicole Swan, Jamie Rodriguez, Nicole Swan, Jamie Rodriguez, Samantha Scarth Wood, Peter Rottenberg, and Ed Martinez. Go right ahead.
Hi, I'm Samantha Scarthwood. I just have a couple questions because you guys kind of glossed over a lot of those slides that you were doing. But in December, you guys spoke of how you were thinking about trying to get lobbyists from Tampa or Jacksonville to actually put in money to do a third party instead of the applicant just spending money on whatever company they want to say yes or no to whether it's going to detriment our air, our water, the children, the sound, the animals, anything in general. But are we just gonna allow them and you guys kind of just glossed over it? Is that something that we're still doing? Or are we just, you guys said that in December and then they're just, the applicants are gonna do it instead? So you say we can find it on the website, but it takes forever to get on there and it's hard to find anything and it just seems like you're making it a little bit more difficult for anybody that doesn't have the resources to find this kind of stuff as well. And like I said, you glossed over so much. All of those slides had 4 paragraphs in every single one, and you gave us 30, 40 seconds for each one. So I'm just...
Do we have anybody else? Mr. Martinez, Ed Martinez. Ed Martinez, Parag, Joy Rickard. Folks, we want to provide an opportunity for everybody to speak. Looking to provide an opportunity for everyone to speak now. And Drew Marin. If we could get people to line up, we could address those points. If you'll give me a second and work through this. We have no one waiting to speak. That's going to waste time. Let's get folks lined up to speak, then we can address the questions. Can we work together on that? I don't see anybody up, lining up, so we're gonna keep moving on with names, and we can address those points. Again, Ed Martinez, Perig Mathionis, Joy Rickert, Nathan Grabbing. Go ahead.
Guys, if I was your family member, okay, would you want people to treat me? Listen, I am still a person. I am your representative, but yelling and screaming and being disruptive does not do anyone in this room a service. I am here to listen. You will also get a chance to listen. I am always reading emails. You have my phone number. This isn't your only opportunity. I have already told you I am a no vote. These are the experts. I am not here as an expert. I am here to tell you I do not support Project Tango, period, end of story. So I'm not sure what I can offer you that staff and the experts that are here can say. We are... What is the question? Exactly. Guys.
As I heard the question, there was a reference to lobbyists and other things. The way the process works, and that's why you heard a number of the departments that are part of the review process, we will review the applicant's information that's submitted to us. We will look at its veracity. We will look at its truthfulness. We will work with the applicant. We will take that information and review it. The reference was to lobbyists. We do not hire lobbyists. That is not our work. We review the technical information submitted. I think that addressed the point, and let's go to our next speaker.
Okay, I think the question, by the way, was what happened to the independent noise studies that were talked about in December that were going to be done by the county? What happened to those? That was the question.
We don't, okay, so per county, and again, I would like zoning to answer this because again, that's why I bring my experts. I am not the expert in that process, but the county, we cannot... Whitney, if you would answer, please.
Hi. We were not directed to hire a third-party consultant to do a noise analysis.
Okay, hey guys, hold on a second. Guys, hold on a second. Who would direct you to do that study?
Hold on, but here, the better question is even if, hold on.
No, everybody, let's hold on. Let's have a conversation, right? Who would direct you to do that independent study?
The Board of County Commissions,
the board?
commissioners would have to give
Would that be
that
the board?
direction. But the better question is, why would we spend money on that if we're already would vote no? That it would then be a waste of money. So if you're saying, hold on. So if you're saying if there's a sound study done that comes back and shows that there's no impact, you would be in favor of this project? Exactly. So why would we waste taxpayer dollars doing an independent study if it's already a no?
Hey, hold on. I think that the answer to that question is very simple. I understand that we're voting no to the expansion. I understand, all right? That's what we've decided, that we understand we're voting no to the expansion.
Correct.
The problem that has come up with a massive asterisk is this point about subject to change. How can it be that this data warehouse that was approved in 2016, where AI was not part of the conversation, hyperscale data processing was not part of the conversation, was approved? But now we're allowing a company to come in with private rights over that territory, building it right next to a public elementary school, and we're still not going to pursue the fact that that's not okay. Even though they have the right to be subject to change, there has to be a line. There has to be a line.
Listen, and I agree with you. I don't think they should be allowed to build there. I don't think any of it should be allowed. But even if we spent taxpayer dollars on doing a study, it still doesn't change what they're allowed to put there.
But the study is a step. It's a step. And the point is, what we're looking for is to move towards understanding that the line has been crossed. An AI hyperscale data processing warehouse is not what was originally approved, right? This is a monstrosity that is being approved. There's tens of hundreds of cases around the country of these exact same projects getting shut down. let's pretend for a second that we don't want to make the argument here, right? Let's pretend for a second that we don't have to waste our time making the argument. Just look into the precedent that's established all over the country.
Listen, I agree with you 100%. If I lived in Arden, I wouldn't want this there.
Even in our own state, just look to Port St. Lucie. They figured it out, right?
But they weren't already approved.
And what status are they at now?
They weren't already approved. So we have in the state of Florida what is called the Burt-Harris Act. If we try to take away a private property right, we could be putting taxpayers on the hook for hundreds of millions of dollars because they could sue the county. They could sue the county for doing that. And listen, guys, if that comes to the commission, you can come say you would be in favor of that. But what I am telling you now is I'm not in favor of this. I'm telling you I don't like it. All we are here doing is presenting you with the facts of what is currently approved.
Yeah, I do have to say, I don't think anybody wants to be represented by someone that's making an argument for the fact
I am not making the argument for them. If I could
I don't-
stop
I don't-
it, I absolutely would.
Nobody-
100%.
Look, when you started your political career,
how could I
you did
stop
not
it?
start your political career trying to make excuses.
Hold on. Mr. Brown is saying I allowed it to get to this. Have we not already heard this was approved in 2016? No, not 200,000 square feet, guys. This is approved as of 2006, up to 2 million square feet. We have never once voted on the commission for any expansion of not one single square foot since I've been on that commission. Not 1 inch has been added to their approval since this was approved. Not one.
Look, I want you to understand. I want you to understand. I work within IT, okay? Hey guys, hold on a second, please. Look, I work within the IT industry. I know the very clear difference between a data warehouse, which are normally used for off-site, data rooms and computer rooms and all those kinds of things, and a hyperscale AI processing data center.
And I don't even disagree with you. I'm telling you, if I could stop this project in any legal way possible, I absolutely would. I've asked 100 questions. I asked all the time. There is no legal way. And I am sorry that if that is not what you want to hear.
I have one question. One question.
I
Is this the town hall meeting? We are supposed to ask questions, and you guys are supposed to answer. So let's get on the ball.
If you guys would let them answer, I would gladly let them answer.
Has there been any effort at all to stop this? At all? The building?
So we can't direct staff to stop an expansion. We just don't, we would vote no.
No.
We would vote no. The board, not any one person can do that. The board would vote no to any expansion. That's how it would legally
No.
happen.
I'm sorry, that's not my question. I understand I've already established the expansion. We're voting no. Cool, we'll hold you to it. My question is, has there been any effort with my taxpayer dollars, everyone's taxpayer dollars that are here, to be used in the right way to setting up legal investigations, legal research to figure out if there is something that we can do? Because you know what? Nobody here wants this. Nobody wants it. We don't want to hear that your hands are tied.
The best way.
We don't want to hear it. That's not what we want to hear.
And again, right now, we are all watching what's coming through the state, right? They could potentially be changing things for the better. That is what we're waiting on.
I understand, and hopefully in tandem and in alliance with what our governor wants, we don't end up, the AI Bill of Rights gets pushed through and all of this gets shut down, hopefully. But alternatively, I also see that there is a non-zero chance that this is stalling tactics, waiting for a pro-AI data center candidate like Byron Donalds to get put in as governor, for example, right? There are candidates that don't want it. Our current governor doesn't want it, but then there's gubernatorial
Let's be clear, I'm in alignment with the governor, the president,
political
everybody else.
climate
I
changes,
do
and now all
not
of a sudden we
support
can build AI data centers all over the place.
Period, end of story. Guys, never have I ever once said I support data centers, never have I wanted it there. But there's so many lies out there about what is currently allowed to be there. Tonight was informational, and I just ask that we get through public comment tonight, are you finished with your questions?
Yeah, I feel like I've been hogging the mic a little bit, so I'll let somebody else talk.
Let's move on. Our next speaker, thank you.
I will say, though, it is a little bit funny, and I think, just to kind of finish my statement here, the idea of the fact that there's an established infrastructure for water and for electricity all the way up to Arden, and we have this AI data center being established and being built at the end of it, is almost symbolic of like a parasitic relationship, is it not? Does it not seem like something parasitic? You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. We don't want this.
Nope, understand your point. Can we get our next speaker so she'll have her opportunity? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joy Rickert. I do not live in Loxahatchee. I'm a West Palm Beach resident, but it affects all of us in Palm Beach County. I know that the state of Florida ranks number 4 in the U.S. with data centers, behind Texas, California, and New York. Now, they've shut down in other locations, but they're planning to do one here. My question is, the people that live in Arden and the surrounding communities, were they ever told when they were purchasing their property that this was a possibility going back to 2016? Were they made aware?
There would have been no disclosures based on the land uses that were next door, including the industrial. So the answer is
Well,
no.
when I buy a property, I like to know what's going to be happening in my area. Don't you think that this was important to those residents and the residents surrounding the community of this proposed data center and Palm Beach County residents? They should have been disclosed of in their contracts when they were going to buy. They ask about school systems, they ask about taxes, they ask about all kinds of things. That should have been forefront for these people that are buying in and around this data center.
Understand your point. Thank you. Next speaker.
Oh well, I've never talked in front of a crowd this big, but I just wanted to say I was born and raised in Palm Beach County, and I know I haven't lived very long, but this project is probably the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. As we can all see from our yards, the drought our region faces, the water usage of this facility is absolutely unacceptable. The noise pollution is extremely concerning with the elementary school right next door. And then finally, the air pollution as well that would harm the lives of our children and the Western residents is unacceptable. The short-term jobs they are promising is never worth compromising the health of our residents and the peace of our communities. Our representatives wish to place all of this in jeopardy for the interests and profiteering of multinational corporations and tech billionaires, and we should never accept this. Thank you.
Sir, can you share your name? Can you just confirm?
Oh, Peter Rothenberg.
Good, awesome, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Monique Costner. I'm a longtime Loxahatchee resident. I have a couple questions. Are there plans to build more AI data centers in Loxahatchee or in Palm Beach County?
We have no other applications in unincorporated Palm Beach County.
Okay. If you are so against this as you say, would you and the other commissioners be in support of a local AI data center moratorium for Palm Beach County? Is that something that you would be willing to put forth? Because there are many people here who
I
would
can't
like to
speak
see
for my
that.
fellow commissioners. I would be.
Okay, how can we move that forward? Because there are many people in this room, and I'm sure in the county, who would like to see a moratorium and an outright ban on AI data centers in Palm Beach County.
Yes, and thank you.
So how can we see that move forward in Palm Beach County? Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jerry First, resident of South Florida since 1973. Two questions. Sarah, I hear a lot of things about legal obligations. 1999, these people in this room, if they were residents, we paid for the agricultural reserve. What happened to that promise? And wasn't that a legal obligation to the citizens that paid for the agricultural reserve? And then for the fire chief, what can you talk about as far as the lithium batteries and the problems that causes?
I'll be more than happy to. And thank you for the question. Like I said in my presentation, we continue to stay up with the NFPA and look at new technologies and new what's coming out on the cutting edge. For example, we, with the Department of Airports, purchased what's called a COBRA tool for lithium-ion batteries related to vehicles, because we know in the past it takes thousands and thousands of gallons to put out a lithium-ion battery. Okay, I'm glad you're shaking your head. That means you know. With the COBRA tool, for example, it was 200 gallons of water, and it was completely extinguished. Thermal runaway was completed. So we're, from a proactive planning perspective, staying on top of what's happening on a national and even international level for the greater good, for the safety of our citizens and our residents and our firefighters.
Just so everyone knows, okay? So you don't think I did this at 8 o'clock. We have to be out of this room. So we are going to get through as many questions and as many people as possible. So the more interruptions, the longer it takes. The question about the Ag Reserve, and I looked into this a lot, in 1999, every single acre in Ag Reserve land that was purchased with those specific dollars is still intact. Every single acre. So not one acre has left the Ag Reserve that was purchased specifically with bond dollars. And that answers that question, guys. So please, next.
I'm Steph Belnamonte, and I'm a resident of Arden. I live on the west side of the neighborhood, and this data center is in my backyard. When purchasing our home in 2022, we asked about the development in the area, and they were very proud to tell us about the new school that was being built, but didn't tell us anything about a hyper data center being put right next to the school in our backyard. I have two questions. My first question, Mrs. Baxter, if you were in our shoes, if you were living in my home right in front of the power plant, right next to the data center with a 6-year-old boy and heart issues, with your knowledge of the law and regulations, what would you do in our situation? What are our options here? If they are already approved, what options do we have left?
I would reach out to your state representatives about the current bill that's going through and help get it through, push it through, and help see if there's anywhere in state law that they can do that. Because remember, state law governs our ability of what we can and can't do.
So if they're already approved, is it possible, and how can we get the project revoked?
And again, I believe the only way to get that potentially done is they would have to make the law retroactive.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Say your name. I'm going to show you a timer when it hits about 1 minute. Just now. Here you are.
My name is Frank Maluda. I live in Deer Run. And I see that, I'd like to say that there was a project in New England called Super 7. It was a highway that goes from Virginia all the way up into Canada. And that was stopped by environmental impact studies. Multiple communities needed it and so on. And they also got some stars, movie stars and so on involved in it. And that way it was stopped. I see that, with Wellington, we have our movie stars, our singers, our equestrians, Olympic medal winners. I think that that would be the way that the people in this room can fight this project. That's all. Thank you. One other thing. Excuse me. My two concerns is the road grid going out there to the project and also the power plants. I can hear the power turbines go in the middle of the night. They do it courteously, in the middle of the night so people don't necessarily hear it. But with more power generated and so on, those turbines will go on longer and longer into the daytimes. Thank you.
Before we take our next speaker, I'm going to call the next 5 names. Patty Farrell, Adriana Rivera, Andrew Vega, Deanna Davis, and Nicole Swan. If you're here and you can hear this, please line up. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, folks. My name is James Russell. I live in suburban Lake Worth. I'm not directly affected by this. However, I have a few thoughts that you may think about. We have 3.7 million square feet of space. 1.9 are going to be available for warehouse. You and I both know that warehouse is later going to be more data center. The data center is going to create 24/7 noise. This noise travels for miles. It affects you for your mental health. AMA states that long-term noise has negative effects on development, learning, sleep, physical and mental health of adults and especially children. We've got a school that's 1,000 feet away from the property balance. For some reason, the Palm Beach Zoning Board rubber stamped this project a number of years back. They didn't have the science evidence. They just said, okay, this sounds like a good idea. One of the other things that's interesting, this is from the Palm Beach Post. I take no credit for it. 4 of the 7 commissioners received money from the Miami Dolphins and an influential lobbyist in Miami. I think
And again, that was what I addressed at the beginning. Stephen Ross-related Miami Dolphins owner has 0, never reached out to, Ernie even said it earlier, they have nothing to do with this project.
He gave money.
There's nothing to do with this project.
Money chases money. According to the Palm Beach Post, he gave 25 grand.
Again, they have nothing to do with this current project. Nothing.
Okay, if you say so.
Good afternoon. My name is Masha Blake, and I am living at 19631 Weather Vane Way, Waxahachie, Florida, right on the west side by data center. That is not going to happen, hopefully. So my question is to Mr. Ernie Cox. Can you please give me one benefit of this community having a benefit of having a data center right across from the elementary school? One benefit. How would it benefit us as a community and 630 kids? Ernie Cox.
Is this microphone on? Okay. One benefit
Just
is
one.
that
Okay.
one benefit of a data center like this in this location is that it supports all of the economic development that the communities were working on, and it also, all of the devices that each of us use every day, currently that data is being processed somewhere, typically outside of Florida. And so the closer...
Guys, okay, so follow-up question is, you're gonna be storing our information at your facility, saving all of our information for your use that we're gonna be paying for with electricity bills, water pollution, air pollution. Who is okay having cancer of 600 kids and all of these people on your hands? Who is okay with that? Nobody is okay, because nobody in their right mind would want this monstrosity next to anywhere close to animals. Lion Country Safari, we have pets. We have kids to raise. We did not come here to die. And you're not going to come here to build for billionaires. I'm done.
Ma'am, before you speak, 1 second, let me call some more names so we can get you lined up. I have a Lillian Soriero, Hannah Bloom, Noah Batat, B-A-T-T-A-T, Allison Rampersad, Nicholas Jasmine, there you go, and Michael Ahn, A-N. If you go ahead and line up behind the mic. Go ahead, ma'am, please give us your name.
Hi, I'm Joni Riley. I live in Fox Trail.
A little closer, so they can...
My name is Joni Riley. I live in Fox Trail. My question is, how many, for this scale data center, decibels are audible for 24/7, 365? How many decibels are supposed to be, bombarding us and these children and our horses? The gentleman that she asked before. How many decibels?
The project will be below 50 decibels at the edge of the property.
50 decibels for children to be outside in a $32 million school. Are you going to provide them and teachers with earmuffs that they're not only seeing it all day at school, they have an outside garden? Are they going to be staying inside so that they are not bombarded with 50 decibels, 25, and these people are living in it? It's going to hit in the 40s in my property. That's unacceptable. That is noise pollution that is dangerous for these children, for our families, for our livestock.
One of the things that, if I may, one of the things that we are doing is we are gathering data on all of the existing noises on the property. That will be part of a report. When the report is submitted, it'll be submitted, it'll be put on the website, it'll be made available. So all the data of existing noises and the data projected from the project will be made available for everybody to review it.
Because no study is needed. You have evidence all around our country. You just look at it. You can see from all, you don't have to pay anybody for this. The other question that I have is, you're putting it right across from a very sensitive area. You are right across from the Everglades Restoration Project. And you want to, we have spent so much time, so much money cleaning it up, sending water south so that we can, keep our estuaries clean. And you are polluting it with this. You will pollute with noise pollution. So how can anybody allow this to continue where it's at? Okay, then all the water you take, when we are at 115 degrees heat index, How much more water are you going to need? You cannot put it in the hottest part of the state, and we are always on a drought. We will go through we barely made a dent this last season, and you want to take 5 million gallons a day.
No.
Yeah, and if you don't, and you do the closed loop, you're going to need chemicals to treat that water. And then what happens is what they're doing with Arden is they are treating it, and it is pumped back into our aquifer. For those of us, yes, unfortunately, that is happening. For those of us who live on wells, you will dry up my well, you will contaminate my well, or you will cause saltwater intrusion. 3 options. $5 million gallons a day.
We're not using 5 million gallons a day. That's not true.
You don't even have any plans up for the closed loop at this point. And then they truck in chemicals to clean this.
Ma'am.
They truck out chemicals. We
Ma'am.
don't need more chemicals in South Florida.
Again, I mean, to answer the question, we are going to be resubmitting within the next few weeks. There will be no discharge from the property of any.
As far as you know.
No, I know.
As far as we know.
Again, what I would ask, I understand the concerns. I understand the concerns. When the information is submitted, please review it. That's all I ask.
And lastly, I have one more question. What if your data center burns to the ground? We breathe it. Our animals breathe it. That is just toxic pollution. It doesn't belong here. What happens? What are you going to do if it lights on fire?
Ma'am, thank you, but we do.
I just want to answer the question. What happens when it lights on fire?
Happy to answer the question. We will work with Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. We will have our
Clean the air?
We will have our own system so that any fire would be suppressed immediately on site. And that's how there are data centers.
Because that's going to put pollution
existing.
into our air,
We're
not
gonna
only
take
into
care of
our
it.
water. This is just unacceptable and should never have been allowed. And, you know, they said that, well, people didn't know about it and people didn't live there, and Arden maybe didn't, but Fox Trail, Deer Run, White Fences, all of the acreage, we were all living here. This is unacceptable. Okay. Well, I thank you. Well, those are my questions.
Hi, my name is Hannah Blum. I had a question regarding the water storage and water usage. You said that there was going to be about 5,000 gallons a day. Is that for?
Million.
What was stated was 5,000. I wanted to confirm that. Sir?
Ernie, how much water do we think will be used daily if a data center went there? Well, because guys, we don't know what size data center.
Okay, so my question
has been, again, we don't know what is potentially going to go there
stated
to give you
earlier.
an accurate answer. I just
No,
want to
of
make sure
course.
you get the best answer.
All right. So where is the water going to be pulled from? From the aquifer where the wells are attached to as well. Is that correct?
No.
Where's the water going to be pulled from?
The water that will be used in the closed-loop cooling system will come from Palm Beach County Water Utilities. It will be approximately 5,000 gallons per day.
Okay, so 5,000 gallons per day, is that what has currently been approved, or if that's what's coming from the proposed plans?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
There's approved data center and warehouse space.
Everyone,
Okay.
please, we're trying to hear the question.
Currently, there's currently an approved plan that shows data center space and warehouse space. The 5,000 gallons predicted a day is for what has been already approved or what is proposed?
The question that has been asked is, what is the water usage for the cooling of the data center?
Yes.
Because many of the questions have been asked.
And so,
So, can I answer the question?
of course,
The 5,000 gallons per day is for the closed-loop cooling system for the data center operation.
Okay.
Separately, the warehouse facilities will take water for toilets and sinks, and that is already part of, that is existing approval, and as part of the submittal for the warehouse, because as I'd mentioned in my presentation, we are reducing data center space, and we are increasing warehouse space, and we will present the detailed information on what that water need is to Palm Beach County Water Utilities, and that will then be used for public consumption in the warehouse by the people that live, that work there.
okay. So my question to you is, if you're pulling that water and you claim that it's not going to affect the residents nearby, you claim that they're going to take the wastewater and they said transport it off-site, is that correct? So there's no
Separate.
downstream.
Two issues. Actually, there's multiple issues.
There's multiple issues.
If I can explain it briefly, and one thing I would suggest, if you have time, we do have the engineers that are working on the site in the back, happy to talk to everybody in a one-on-one conversation. But if you break down the water, water on the site comes into three places. So one is the water that would be utilized for the cooling of the data center. Our projection, based upon the closed-loop system, is that will be about 5,000 gallons per day. That's what the engineers are telling us. That's what it will be. And wait, but guys, you're asking, if you would like me to answer the question, I'm happy to answer the question, Ben.
Thank you so much. Did that answer your question?
No, I'm not done.
You said,
saying-
and again,
Can I-
I'm going
can I
to
answer the
remind you with
question?
all the people that are here to speak, we
I
are on a
understand that.
time limit.
Hannah, can I just add to something that?
Yes, please.
I'm a director of the water utilities, right? A lot of question comes about the water. If the applicant put a request in front of us for 5 million gallons per day, I tell you right now, that's going to get rejected.
Absolutely. So
right?
my question.
Let me just get to the bottom of it. So 5 million gallons is not going to happen, guaranteed. No, you're recording me, right? I'm just going to tell you
Mr. Brown.
publicly,
Mr.
the
Brown.
5 million is not going to happen. Even 500,000 not going to happen. 10% of that. We're not going to have that kind of capacity to give it to anybody. So as of now, what has been provided to us is 5,000 gallons per day. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
So my question was, earlier you said that once it is established, there is possible of conversion of the warehouses to data centers because that was what was on the plan. When there will need to be an increase of water usage, will that get approved? Because you said there's no legal way to fight it, but I know for a fact that increase of water usage, what does require different permitting aspects.
They're not asking to be allowed for an increase in water usage.
But when it gets built, you
So
said.
what is, and again, maybe, I don't think we looked this up. Does anyone know what is currently allowed or approved for water usage?
What has been approved right now is only for the warehouses and only.
So,
Did they answer your question?
Yes. And then my second question was that the government has put millions of dollars towards Everglades restoration. I know that was previously mentioned, but those projects are literally adjacent to where the data center is being built, and those projects are still being worked on. Those projects provide areas for nesting birds, caracaras that we don't see often and that they're critically endangered, snail kites also critically endangered. Noise pollution, you were saying, is going to be minimal, but that does affect birds nesting in those areas. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration because it's not just minimal. Everything is affected by the surrounding area. how do you guys plan to deal with that?
Again, we can only deal with what we are legally allowed to deal with. So again, if somebody wanted to fight it, right? These are state laws, everyone, state laws.
I'm aware of state laws, trust me. What I'm saying is there's a part in state laws, especially with individual permits, to where you need it's public benefits. Nothing about this is a public benefit other than possible economic benefits.
They, again, already have approvals. They don't need a public benefit for approvals. Guys, and can we, yeah.
Okay. My name is Allison Rampersad. I'm from Delray Beach. Make no mistake, this will affect everybody in the entire state. And we haven't even talked about tax breaks for the people who are building this thing. So here's my question, 2 questions actually, very quick. I still haven't heard any benefit to the people, the animals, and the state. I haven't heard any benefit whatsoever. Okay, I'll accept that. Here's the second half. The people who are building this have lots of money, enough to build their own power plant. So to use the excuse that we have to build it here so we can use the power plant in the Glades is nonsense. You can move it up into the middle of the state where there's lots of open land, nobody for 50 miles around, and let them build their own power plant so it does not affect the rest of us. What do you say? What do you think?
Thank you.
Let's hear from the experts. Go.
We heard a lot of comments. I didn't hear a question in that. You said, how about, I'm absolutely in
Question was,
favor
why
of them
can't we
building-
move it up into the middle of the state where there's nothing for 50 miles around and build their own power plant?
Again, this is up to the property owner. We as a government, and you wouldn't want government telling you what you can do with your stuff, right?
Are you
Guys,
serious?
We cannot tell people you have to build something on property that they don't own. This property, they own. All they can do is request for what is not already approved. That's the only thing they can do.
Okay, so we still don't have any benefit for
unless
the
there's a
county
state
of
law.
Palm Beach. No benefit. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
My name is Parag Mathuria. I'm an engineer by profession, but I have very basic questions. You are saying you have a chillers. Can you tell us what is the make of a chiller? What is the type of chiller? Those are basic information any manufacturer can give us. Not only those, plus it will give you a sound power level of each chiller. So if you know already, decided which chiller you are going to use it, you already know the sound power. You can calculate very easily sound pressure level, not only your facility, but the residents surrounding us. So that's very basic math, since I'm hearing this project from last 10 years, but not a single number in terms of sound, why?
So if you have a question specifically about the equipment that will be in the chiller, I'd recommend you talk to the folks in the back of the room.
If
I don't know the answer to that. Back of the room, those folks have the answer.
So the same guy will also talk about generator as well?
just so you know, anyone who doesn't want to speak publicly, or if you have questions, the experts are around the outside of the room to answer any questions that you have. I would like to have your question answered by the actual expert. Ernie, do you want your people to come answer?
We're running out of time.
So
we have
again,
15 minutes.
Hi, Nicholas Jasmine. This is for Mr. Cox. I'm in Arden. Just so you've stated economic benefits which haven't been substantiated, stated health benefits which haven't been substantiated. If you're in our shoes, I know the answer would be if you would live next to it, you'd obviously say yes. So tell us why you would live next to what you're putting in next to us. Why you would do this, Mr. Cox. Why you would be okay with this.
Yeah. So the design of the project and the work that we're doing, I know everybody's upset about it, and there's a lot, is that our intent is not to have a negative impact at all upon the residents of Arden.
Then if I can ask just a really quick follow-up, then why would you even cite it next to us to begin with then? I get there's an existing data center, but you can't take a hyperscale data center anywhere else? Yes, sir, that's for you. Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. My name's Michael On. I live in Loxahatchee. Ernie, you said the one benefit is that it would help other companies prosper and come to Palm Beach. January, is that correct? I just want to give you a chance.
You had asked for one, the question was
one benefit you stated earlier? Yes.
And the benefit that I mentioned was the ability to continue to grow the economy in this area by having access to data processing nearby. Yes.
Very good. Thank you. I heard that very clearly. Trade Magazine, Food Processing, January '96, has an article in it that talks about AI centers are squeezing out food and beverage expansion. And what it states is that the fact that AI companies are coming in, any companies that want to come in and build a facility are waiting up to 3 years for more upgrades so they can actually build. They're being locked out from a power standpoint. So very clearly with this AI hyper data center, it will take all the capacity, if not more, that they would build another couple of units to expand to meet your needs. And what that means, I want the board to hear this, the commissioners, that it will cut any ability for any other industry to come in. So this is what you're signing up for, outside of the other things that are going on. And great, you can build another power plant, but this power plant being the largest natural gas power plant in the country, when you need to buy natural gas, I used to work for BP, natural gas cannot be stored. And therefore, if you cannot secure the supply, you're buying on a spot market. And when you're buying on a spot market, folks, we all know we all pay for that.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, my name is Santiago Latancio, and I have a couple questions for the panel. Starting with code or zoning, you mentioned that in 2016 this data center was approved. However, I still cannot find anywhere in the ULDC the mention of data center. I always see data and information processing with examples listing mail processing or telemarketing operations. Two things that are consistent with bringing jobs and employment to the area, but based on the applicant's approval, I see that he's actually reducing the number of parking spaces, which means low employment coming to the area. So can you actually give me a little bit of context as to how we are dictating ULDC conformance based on nomenclature? Just because it says data center in an application, does it mean that Article 4 and Article 1 of the ULDC can be violated?
Okay.
Before you answer that, I just want to add one more comment. This was by the staff at your zoning meeting. Exhibit B1, although the use could be considered similar to warehouse, it is very different. Increased use of power, heat, excessive water usage, and noise. This was your zoning staff report. So can you please answer the question why we're allowing this into our zoning as light industrial?
Okay. In 2016, under a prior zoning director, they determined that the data center use fall under the category of data information and processing. You had another question as
Well,
it related to violating Article 1. I need clarification on what's the violation?
So Article 1, Chapter C, Section 1A2 says, "The interpretation and application of any provision in this code shall be minimum required to promote the public health, safety, comfort, convenience, and general welfare. When interpretation and application of any provision in this code imposes greater restrictions upon the subject matter than a general provision imposed by the plan or other provisions in the code, the provision imposing the greater restrictions shall control."
Right, so like I had said, under the zoning director back in 2016, when this application came through, the zoning director at that time determined that a data center was under the category of data information and processing.
Right.
Thank you. I think you had another question too?
I'm sorry?
You had a question on Exhibit B1?
Yes, your staff reported that they were heavily concerned that this project deferred from a traditional warehouse and data center, yet the zoning commission still passed the report. Can you explain?
So when applications are processed, they have to go before the zoning commission first for a recommendation to go to the board. Our staff report that we wrote had concerns on the expansion of the proposal. When this was originally approved with the 2 million square feet, you can see that there are like no conditions of approval as it relates to this use. When they came in asking for the expansion, staff is recognizing that there are issues. We've researched it. That's why this application includes many more conditions of approval related to noise and water, architecture, sound. So we've added those conditions because of our concerns for that expansion of this use that weren't addressed under the current approval back in 2016.
So with that statement, I want to direct my next question to FPL and Mr. Cox. With conversations since December where we were at the BCC, I have yet to hear the power demand for this particular data center, which is then going to lead you to understand what is the cooling and heat rejection requirement, which my colleague, Mr. Parag, asked about the details of your cooling system, just because we still don't understand what is the size of this. Is this 100 megawatts? Is this 1 gigawatt? Is it 3 gigawatts? So can you provide comment as to what is the expected power draw from this data center facility?
We do not disclose any content for any of our customers to the public. You have to understand. I will say that there is a very thorough process that they must undergo, which starts with a review and then a study that they pay for, and then ultimately they would execute a service agreement with us. So until those steps go through, that's all I can share.
So Mr. Cox, without us or without any disclosure of the size of this project, how can you reassure us that we have the accurate cooling or the noise propagation that you are showing in your cartoon? Or the amount of water?
We'll do one at a time. So first, on the noise, the sound issue, we are in the process. We've been gathering background data. We've been doing preliminary modeling. We will be submitting a noise study based upon the design of the project. That noise study will be made public and be available. So that modeling is being done.
Give me a date. When will it be available?
I anticipate within the next few weeks, when we make a submittal. What we're going to do is we're going to put together a comprehensive resubmittal that includes the changes that I discussed earlier about the plan. It's going to include the noise study, the sound study, and it's also going to include the specific water needs. So as to the sound study, that'll be made available for everybody to review. As to the water, again, so I can answer your questions. As to the water, we will put our water projections. The way it works in Palm Beach County is you provide your water projections. Then you have to put together an agreement. It gets reviewed by staff. If you have an amount of water that you are requesting from the county, you're limited to that amount of water. You can't have any more. It's a contractual limitation. And so from a water use perspective, that will be subject to a contract. We can't have any more.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Got it. So this is going to need to be our last speaker. We've hit 8 o'clock. We're going to finish with you. I'm going to note we have all the cards. The mayor's office is going to have them available. The tables, as the mayor has indicated, are available. Folks are here to discuss one-on-one and answer questions. So we're going to break with questions after this. Sir, go ahead.
Thank you.
You already canceled this meeting.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, please. Let's let our last speaker speak, please. Let's let him go. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, please. Go right ahead.
Thank you.
Thanks. Come on. Tell us your name.
My name is Noah. I work at an elementary school, so I'm also particularly concerned about the health effects this will have on kids. So Elon Musk XAI data center in Memphis, Tennessee is using up so much electricity that they had at one point 35 additional gas turbines running to power the plant, which brings up the point again that traditional data centers are very different from the power usage of the neural learning data centers that we have now for AI. Gas turbines also produce fine particulate matter, nitrous oxides, formaldehyde, and other harmful pollutants. So how does FPL and the developer plan to mitigate the effects of air pollution coming from the data center?
Excuse me, sir. There has been no conversation about what type of generation would be required for this type of project. We don't.
So you don't know if additional generators are going to need to be built? And let me say too that the generators that were built at Elon Musk data plant in Tennessee, half of those were illegal because they needed so much extra power that they just built them without getting the proper permitting. So we don't know what's going to power the data plant. We know that it's going to be next to a power plant, but is that what's going to actually power the data center?
Go ahead.
They're getting tax breaks on all of the construction. They're not paying anything. They're bringing in workers from out of state. They're not doing anything with jobs. It's a complete sellout to the entire area.
Let's.
She's gone. She left the building.
And
all right, all right, guys. Tell you what, we're after 8 o'clock. We had to break. We've got all the cards. Those who didn't get to speak, all of them are there. They're noted for the record. They will be with the mayor's office. Questions you have, all the tables are available to you. Thank you all. Have a good night.